Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mastery of Money Live 21 Ways to Generate $10,000 or more from experts who are not only making big money, but who are also making a big difference in the world. I'm really excited to have here with me today my guest, Dr. Steve G. Jones, who's going to share with us some great ideas, tips, and tools, things that you can put into practice right away to create some solid revenue generating ideas for yourself this year. Because that's what's important for each of us to be able to make the difference in the world that is important for us to make. So I'm really excited to have Dr. Steve with us today, and let me introduce him to you. Dr. Steve G. Jones is a board-certified clinical hypnotherapist who's been practicing hypnotherapy since the 1980s. He is the author of 25 books on such topics as hypnosis, the law of attraction, and weight loss. Steve has also created over 9,000 hypnosis audio recordings and 22 different online certification programs, which are sold in over 140 countries. That's making a big difference in the world, isn't it? So Dr. Steve has been featured on Bravo's Millionaire Matchmaker as both a hypnotherapist and a millionaire. Additionally, Dr. Steve has been interviewed on CNN, ABC, NBC, and CBS. So welcome, Dr. Steve. We're excited to have you with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Sue.
All right. So tell me, how does hypnosis work?
Well, hypnosis works by relaxing you into a state of mind called alpha, or we can go lower. And once you're there, you can be programmed, if you will, to have positive results. So alpha is the state that you enter every day naturally when you daydream or space out, when you just wake up, when you're just about to go to sleep, when you're driving a car, reading a book, watching TV, when you're doing anything that doesn't require your full attention, your brain can go into alpha. So the only difference between you going into that naturally and you going into that in a hypnosis session are two things. Number one, the hypnotherapist or the recording you're listening to, if it's a recording, is causing you to go there using relaxing hypnotic type language. And number two, while you're there, positive suggestions are being put in your mind. Other than those two differences, it's no different than you would experience in your everyday life. So everyone goes in and out of hypnosis all day long.
I didn't realize that. And one of the things that came to mind when you were saying that is, watching the TV, reading a book. Once you need to be really conscious about what you're looking at, right?
Oh, absolutely. TV advertisers are very aware that you are in a hypnotic state when watching TV. That's why we all end up wearing the same things and driving the same kinds of cars and going to the same restaurants, because we get programmed by the TV to take certain actions.
Wow, I'm not really sure how I'm feeling about that.
You can break free anytime you want.
How powerful is the subconscious mind?
The subconscious mind is extremely powerful. If you think of it like an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg that you can see above the water would be just a little bit. The bulk of the iceberg, the main part of it, is beneath the water. So think of the tip of the iceberg that you can see above the water, that little bit, as the conscious mind, and the bulk of it, the remainder that's below the water surface, as the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is much more powerful. It's what's directing the person. So the currents of the ocean would push on the bulk of it, the subconscious mind, under the water. That's what's guiding us. So if we want to change what we're doing, rather than being focused on just willpower, which would be conscious mind related, we need to focus on long-term, deep-rooted habits that we have, which would be the realm of the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind is extremely powerful in dictating who we are and what we do.
So if I take that back to your first point, where we go into this hypnotic state watching the TV or reading a book, is it our subconscious mind then that's being spoken to, if you will, by that advertising?
Yes, exactly. They get the critical factor out of the way. So when you're watching TV or reading a book or something like that, you space out, essentially. You start to go into a daydream, which is the state of alpha or lower. See, beta is full awakening consciousness, where we are right now. We're both fully engaged in our conversation. We're wide awake. We're aware of what's going on. If we relax just a little bit, like we do when we're doing some rote activity that's kind of boring or mundane or known to us, such as riding a bike or watching TV or even driving a car, we can go down to what's called alpha. Alpha and lower are hypnotic states. Below that we have theta and delta. that we would enter into during sleep. But the stages of wakefulness and sleep are no different than the stages of hypnosis. So it's not a different scale. You go into alpha and theta and delta all throughout your day. When you sleep, you go to theta and delta. When you're awake and you space out, you go into alpha, then back up to beta, then alpha, then back up to beta. These are the same as the hypnotic states. So advertisers know this, hypnotherapists know this, and hypnotherapists will use it for your own good. Advertisers will use it to manipulate you.
Interesting. So how can hypnosis be used to attract money into one's life?
Well, if you think about it, your subconscious mind is running the show. Consciously you may think, hey, I'll go here today. I'm going to do something unique. I'll go here today. But really that's based on your subconscious preferences that are built up over the years. You'll go there today because you think that's the thing to do, because you think that's what you're supposed to do because of your subconscious programming. So if you really want to do something unique, something different, something out of the ordinary, you have to reprogram the subconscious mind. Otherwise, you'll just do things that you think you're supposed to do because they're based on things that you heard. Oh, I'm supposed to go to college now because my parents told me. I'm supposed to go to work now because that's what good people do. You become hypnotically programmed. And unfortunately, although some of that is great programming, people become doctors because they're programmed by their parents to be doctors, or lawyers. People tend to reproduce themselves. Lawyers reproduce lawyers, doctors reproduce doctors, entrepreneurs reproduce entrepreneurs because the children get programmed to do it. So a lot of it's really good, but a lot of it becomes ineffective. So you also get the monetary ideas that your parents have. Oh, rich people are terrible people. Money corrupts people. You see it in the news. You see these wealthy people being taken to jail because they did bad things. Well, everyone can do bad things. It's not related to money. So you have to realize a lot of the ideas that we get in our heads about money are just erroneous ideas. They're just arbitrary thoughts that are put in our heads by the media, by our parents, by our friends, etc. So hypnosis comes into play in wealth building by wiping all that out, saying, that's nice, but that's all opinion and that's just stuff that you happen to be exposed to. Let's focus on what you really want, which is to create money, to create wealth in your life. So let's get rid of all those beliefs, whatever they may be, and let's reestablish some beliefs, some powerful beliefs. Money is power. Money gives you the ability to help people. You are worthy of having money. You will take advantage of the money opportunities that have been presenting themselves in your life that you haven't been taking advantage of. Things like that. And once we get that kind of programming, then we have no limits. We just continue moving forward, generating wealth.
So when we hear things like the limiting beliefs, that you, like for instance, on Monday I was talking to a friend of mine about, being my calendar not being where I want it to be and working too many hours or something like that. And she said, well, the only reason you continue to do that is because you have a belief about it. Same thing with, I can never make more than 6 figures, or I can never make more than 7 figures, or whatever it is, that there's some kind of a limiting belief that has us doing those things over and over and over. So how does hypnosis versus, taking new actions, fake it till you make it kind of deal in order to get things to go the way you want them to go, how does that work together?
Well, it just reprograms you. I mean, let's take your example, for example. Why aren't you backpacking around Europe right now? A lot of people are. You're not. You're working 10 hours a day. Why is that? Because that's what you think you're supposed to do. You're supposed to work 10 hours a day. Other people are backpacking around Europe and having a wonderful time right now. You're not. And I'm not saying things are working in your life. I'm just saying that 10 hours a day thing doesn't seem to be working for you. So why don't you just leave everything right now, including this interview, and go backpack around Europe? Because you're programmed to think that this is what you're supposed to be doing right now and that you're supposed to work 10 hours every day. That's programming. It has nothing to do with reality. It's all in your head. You have made this idea up based on information you receive. So hypnosis becomes very powerful in getting in there and saying, hey, that's just stuff that you learn. Let's just push that to the side as interesting information, but not information you're acting on anymore. Let's give you new beliefs, the beliefs that you want. How about the belief that you can backpack around Europe if you want to, or do anything else you want and still make money? You can get someone else to do your work. You can work on your phone while doing whatever the heck you want to do. That's the power of hypnotic programming. It gets into the subconscious and wipes out all that stuff that's in there and puts in the powerful things that are going to help you create the life that you really want.
So how do you choose the things that you're going to put in you really want?
Well, I don't choose them. The client does. So as a hypnotherapist, I don't choose. I get the things that the person wants and then I put them in there. If it's just a recording, which is a canned hypnosis session, then I put the things that most people want and I disclose them in the recording. You know, I tell them, okay, this is what you're getting into. You're going to make more money. I hope you're okay with that. You're going to have more time. You're going to have more fun, more friends, because you're going to be more open. You're going to have an abundant life, and I hope that's okay. But the person who goes to a hypnotherapist who's choosing, like a menu, what they want, they just have to let go of their limiting beliefs. You know, Tony Robbins talks a lot about this, about, kids. You know, kids are great at figuring out what they want for a present because they don't have any limits. You know, I'll take a boat or a private airplane or what have you, and they don't really embrace what we would call reality because they don't have limits in their thinking. They think anything is possible. So hypnosis allows you to get into that frame of mind. So when you're thinking about what you want, a lot of people have a challenge with that. They think, well, okay, what I want is X amount of money per year, but no. Let's cut that in half because that's not real. You know, you have to break free of those barriers. What if there were no barriers at all? If you could create anything you wanted to. So when you decide what you want, you have to keep that in mind, that this is a world really without limits. You just thought it had limits, but those thoughts are not necessarily related to the rest of reality.
Okay, so you're pushing all my buttons, and that's not a bad thing. Because limiting beliefs, so I have some limiting beliefs around time. A lot of people have limiting beliefs around generating wealth. And so what's coming up for me is a thought of, okay, I can say I don't have any limits on that, but then where's the reality of the actions that I need to take, or the actions that are proven systems that work to generate wealth, versus what I want it to look like, like backpacking in Europe. How does that come together?
Can you rephrase the question a little bit? I'm not quite understanding the question.
Okay. So what's coming up for me is that it's like, okay, well, if I want to generate this kind of wealth, my thinking, my reality check says, well, then you better get up and provide value out there to your clients that you're wanting to serve. And that looks like this. In other words, in order for me to be able to do that, I create this system and this methodology to build a business, which there's proven step by step, all that kind of stuff. So if I have this thinking or this system in place that says, okay, in order to get here, I have to do this. If I put another programming in there, I'm going to come up pretty fast and hard of, well, if I don't get on the phone and talk to people, I'm not going to make any sales. And if I don't make any sales, I'm not going to make any money. So where's that? How do you marry? I guess what I'm asking, how do you marry the desired outcome and action?
Okay.
How do you put those two together?
Well, first of all, if somebody has a system that they're just not working, it's always great to work within that system. Let's say, for example, your life is set up in such a way, which it sounds like it is, that if you get on the phone and make more calls, you make more money. If you make more contacts, it somehow leads to you making more money. If that is the case, then it's really easy for a hypnotherapist to get in there and program you, if you will, to just make more calls. To let go of your boundaries and just make more calls. However, I'm also proposing that there is an entirely different reality. In fact, there are countless realities that you're unaware of that are equally valid. For example, leaving everything right now, moving to Los Angeles and becoming a famous actor, for example. You may think, that's ridiculous. Why would I go there? I don't have any contacts. People do it every day. It happens every day because people do it and they believe in it. Backpacking around Europe, going back to that example, which, by the way, I'm just coming up with these off the top of my head. Backpacking around Europe, that could turn into a blog that you write about. That becomes a very powerful blog and has a lot of traffic, and you're able to sell traffic, sell ads on that site, something like that. So things work out, especially these days with the internet, things work out in ways that we never imagined they would. The reality that we hold on to is nothing more than a bunch of ideas that we put together that we think are our reality. But that doesn't mean anything. It's just our reality in our heads. It has no actual meaning outside of the meaning that we give it in our lives. So one way to approach this is to just say, okay, you've got a system. Let's just supercharge you in that system. Push through it. Let's make more calls. Let's make more money, if that's what you want. Another possibility, which is obviously more extreme and less sought after, is to explode your reality, and let's say that's all just opinion that you have, and let's open you up to countless new realities. So there are two different ways to do it. So if you want to stick within your paradigm, the reality that you've created, there is a way to just give you more oomph to make more out of that.
Okay, that makes complete sense to me, and I appreciate that, and it also reminds me of how literal I am with all of my thinking, and so I would probably benefit from blowing some of those things up. So I appreciate you sharing that today.
Oh, sure.
So I know that, do you have any other last thoughts that you'd like to leave our listeners with before we talk about your free offer for them today?
Well, just I'm a hypnotherapist, so I work with the subconscious mind, and I'd like everyone to know that, I think of the quote by the musical group America, talking about the Wizard of Oz, which is, Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man that he didn't already have. And of course, that's a reference to the Wizard of Oz movie, which is based on a book, talking about Oz giving something to the Tin Man and everyone else as a physical representation of something they already had. That's kind of like hypnosis if you think about it. Hypnosis is just giving you a reminder, if you will, of the power, the beauty, the amazing force, the amazingness that you already have, the abilities that you already have. It's just a reminder. It's just a kick in the rear saying, hey, you're awesome. That's what hypnosis is. So it's not something that you need per se, but it's something that can help every now and then to just remind you of that greatness you have, to get you back on that horse, to get you moving forward, to get you in the right direction once again, to show the world your greatness.
I love that. That's fabulous. I think that checking in with that and being reminded of all the gifts that each of us have and the difference that we make in the world with that is always so important. So tell our listeners a little bit about the free offer that you have for them today.
I wish you mean going to my website and getting a free recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. The offer that we have is simply go to my website, which is stevegjones.com, and I want you to have a free recording. This recording is about unlimited wealth. So you'll go there and you'll see a picture of me on Bravo's Millionaire Matchmaker, on Bravo's Below Deck as a millionaire sitting on a multi-million-dollar yacht. That's the picture that you see that pops up when you go to stevegjones.com. I've also been on Millionaire Matchmaker as a millionaire 3 separate times. So I'm not saying this to brag or to impress anyone, but as Tony Robbins would say, to impress upon you the idea that I know what I'm talking about. I've gone from rags to riches. I was the kid who had the high water pants in school because his dad was too cheap and too poor to buy new ones. They had cuts on them. They're high waters. I'd outgrown them. I went from that to being on a multi-million-dollar yacht featured as a millionaire and helping people create wealth. So you do that by reprogramming your subconscious mind. There's no charge for it. All you have to do is go to stevegjones.com, enter your name and email, and I'm going to send you that recording right now.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I want to thank our listeners for being with us today. I hope, like me, you've had some parameters pushed for you so that you can begin to go, I wonder what it is, those things that I need to blow up as I'm looking at moving into that next step of generating additional wealth in my life. And that's what this summit is all about, is you finding the ways or the things, the tips, the tools, the practices that will help you to make that shift this year so you can make some solid revenue generating streams in your business so you truly get to live the lifestyle that you desire and also build the kind of business that you're looking for. So thank you, Dr. Steve, for being with us today. And bye-bye, everyone. And hopefully you'll have your email marked so you don't miss any of these interviews. As you can tell from today's interview, they're all very powerful. from 21 different experts who are not only making big money, but also making a difference in the world. Thank you and bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. And remember, for your free hypnosis download, just go right now to stevegjones.com.